This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Can you believe it's time for Palm Sunday again? I'm so sorry we can't be together this Palm Sunday, but I was thinking back on some Palm Sundays in the past that have been real special to me. One of them was at Newland Street United Methodist Church in Greensboro. It's on the edge of town and near four other denominations. And so each year at Palm Sunday, the different preachers would take turns having the service, and we would have it at a different church each year. And so the parade would start at the first church, and they would leave their church waving their palm branches and walking to the next church. And there they would join us, and maybe we'd sing a song, and then we'd go to the next church, and so on until we'd get to the last church. And there we would have a service and refreshments afterwards. It was a great time. One year we had the parade start at our church, and we went first to several churches, and then we ended up at the Catholic Church, and there the priest came out with his elaborate robes, and he was the one that led the donkey the rest of the way to the last church. And then as we got there and all the people went inside, we had a wonderful service. And it was amazing to me that there I was, a female United Methodist pastor, sitting in between a Catholic priest and a Southern Baptist minister, and I was the one delivering the sermon. And so that particular time stands out in my mind. And then there were times at Salston United Methodist Church in Goldsboro, and Corinth United Methodist Church in Four Oaks, where we had a donkey, and the children got to follow the donkey around the church and waving their palm branches and saying Hosanna before we went into the sanctuary. And so I have lots of fond memories about Palm Sunday. Today we're going to look at Matthew's account of the Palm Sunday. And if you look at Matthew 21, he talks a lot up front about getting the donkey. And he probably spent a little bit of time on getting the donkey because he wanted to remind the people that Zechariah had prophesied that the king would come into being and riding on a donkey. And so as the parade got ready to go, we remember that Jesus' ministry was mainly in the countryside, but now he was getting ready for his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And what, of course, is really strange is he's not riding a white steed. He's indeed riding a donkey that has a little colt with her. This was his coronation parade, and people would throw down the robes and palm branches before him as he would ride into Jerusalem. It was his red carpet of sorts. And as they walked along, they would wave the palm branches and call out, Hosanna, Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. And we know that Hosanna meant save us. And so I think on this day, we can also say Hosanna on this Palm Sunday, because we are asking Jesus to save us from the coronavirus, from injustice in the world, from ourselves. You know, Jesus had a lot to say about the injustice in the world, and he was loudly proclaiming for justice all around him. It made the authorities nervous. They didn't want to get Rome upset so that they would come in and smash the country. But his call for justice is what really led to his death. You know, today we still don't think kindly of people that are too loud when they're calling for justice. I think about all the people that worked for civil rights and the hardships they had to go through, or whistleblowers at companies or in the government. We just assume they quietly talk about their grievances. As we think about this crowd that was around him, some of them probably were followers and loved Jesus. Some of them were just coming along because they wanted to go to Jerusalem. It was getting near the Passover, and some people probably they gathered up along the way, just curious about what was going on. In Jerusalem, it was a time of unrest. People were tired of the Roman government being in charge of what they did and what they said. And there had been riots even in the city. And so people were worried about this and hoping that Rome would not get tired of these protests and come and smash them down. So as Jesus is coming in and they're calling on him to be king, of course, this wasn't the first time. They tried to make him king after he fed the 5,000, but he turned them down. And as the week goes on, we see that many people certainly fall by the wayside because he wasn't exactly what they had in mind for a king. When we think about what qualities would make a good leader, what qualities people want in a leader, we think about strength and power and wealth and charisma and influence. There's not too many job descriptions for leaders that say humility and weakness. You know, as you think about the turn that people will make in the week to come from calling him king to yelling, "Crucify him," we think about how fickle we still are on all kinds of subjects. I think about our poor sports teams when they're winning. Wow, we're their fans, and we buy their t-shirts and we're watching their games, but let them have a bad season and we're calling for firing of the coach and getting rid of players. That's what happens in a fickle world. And you know, to be a real fan, to be a real disciple, it's about being faithful and being the ones that stick with it in the good times and the bad times. Because right now we are in kind of a bleak time. We need this Easter season to renew our confidence, our faithfulness, our patience. And we need to let Jesus show us what it means to be humble and to be loving and to trust our God. You know, those people that were waving those palm branches and on that parade had no idea what was coming. And I'm thinking that it was kind of like us. Can you remember what it was like before you knew about the coronavirus? When was the last event that you felt totally at ease and wasn't even thinking about this stuff? Maybe it was a church service or a child that you loved school program, or maybe it was a gathering of friends at dinner at your favorite restaurant. Just no idea what was coming. It's kind of like that first Easter, a lot of shock, a lot of not knowing what was going to happen. But on Palm Sunday, oh, what a day that was. I just feel like Jesus enjoyed it so much. It was something that he could hold on to and really drink in before this coming week evolved. I could see him enjoying the breeze in his hair and the sun on his face, that he would look at the children playing and just love their joy and their innocence. Then he loved people calling his name and waving the palm branches. You know, we can do that today. We can call his name. We can worship him. We can say, Hosanna, Jesus, Son of David. Hosanna, Jesus, Son of God. Hosanna.